This is The Goode Show. Welcome to this week's episode. My name's Surinder. I'm your host, and this is The Goode Show, military platform for military spouses. So please like, follow, and share. Talking of military spouses, I have the lovely Tracy Steele here today. How are you, Tracy?
Hi, good morning. Good to see you, Surinder.
It's good to see you too. Now, you had warned me that we could talk forever.
We could talk forever.
Yeah, so we're gonna try and keep this one on point. But I want to thank you for coming to the first command offices today, because my studio is still being refurbished. So thank you for making the trip down here. But I want to get straight into the meat and potatoes, Tracy.
All right.
So I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Tell us, who is Tracy Steele?
Who am I? So I always lead when I'm a military spouse, because for the past 26 years, that's who I've been. When I started that journey 26 years ago with my husband, I was a registered nurse. I had my plans for my own, career and future, and the Marine Corps had a different plan for me. Mm-hmm. So, within that first year of marriage, we had our first kid and endured our first PCS, and that set me on the journey of truly being a military spouse.
Before you went on this PCS, did you know anything about PCSing? Did you know what it involved?
I don't think I know what PCS stood for.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was marrying a sexy man in a uniform, and that's all I knew. So, but, flash forward, I wouldn't trade it for the world now. I've got to meet wonderful people like you. The military spouses, I just are part of my heart now. So believe in them, and that is who I am inspired to, help create opportunities for spouses now. So, successfully seen my kids grow. And now my oldest has got his first big boy job. Wow. So, my job as that chapter has closed, now this new chapter of just really trying to create opportunities for military spouses and getting them in the rooms that they deserve to be in, and seeing them flourish and thrive together.
Now, for as long as I've known you, you've been a big military spouse advocate, trying to get employment for spouses. Did you have issues getting employment yourself when you first moved, especially? Where did you move from?
So, I originally came out to California, to San Diego, with some girlfriends after college, a couple years after college, and I was a registered nurse, worked at UCSD in the NICU there.
Oh, wow.
So that was my plan for my career, and, we moved 9 different times, lived overseas, and I just wasn't able to keep that career. So I had 5 different nursing licenses, but only ever worked when we were in California. Mm-hmm. And so it was challenging. And, we had 2 kids. I was the primary child care giver. Mm-hmm. And many times it didn't make sense to pay for child care just so I could work part-time and all those things. So, it was challenging. But I found ways to stay professional, and that was all through volunteer service. And I think that's where I started getting really frustrated. I was like, gosh, we are leading organizations. We are, managing these big budgets. And why are we not getting credit for it? We're just volunteers. Yeah. So I tried to start changing that narrative, learn how to put that information on my own resume to start getting paid employment. And then that just kind of lit a fire under me. Like, I want to help every spouse to be able to do this, whether, the only option right now is volunteer service maybe for you, or maybe you're making a career pivot and you need to get hands-on skills and training and a new, career path. But let's get that on your resume, and then, help you find the opportunities that you're looking for. So,
you hit on a point there about spouses volunteering. I always encourage spouses to volunteer, because you never know if that could lead to a permanent position, and also helps you socialize and get out there. But there does seem to be, over my 28 years, like a big, I don't know if the word is stigma, but it's like companies or people look at military spouses, and for some reason they seem to think, oh, well, they'll do it either for cheap or they'll do it for free. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know where that comes from. But going back to your point about, the volunteering kind of thing, yes, we are worth, we're worth getting paid. Mm-hmm. A spouse actually said to me the other day, she said, I don't have any skills. I went, lady, you ran a house. You had to work on your time management. You've worn so many hats. The only problem is sometimes translating that experience onto a resume.
Right.
So you've gone through that whole kit and caboodle and been able to transfer yours and, and find a position within a corporate entity. And now what you've done is you've broken away and you've set up Community Cultivator.
Yes, I have.
So tell us about that. I mean, first of all, I remember us going to lunch and, we were brainstorming kind of thing. Were you scared, nervous, like, oh my gosh, am I doing this? I don't know,
Oh yeah, every day. I think being an entrepreneur, you would know as well, is a scary endeavor. But when it feels like there's no other option, I just feel like this is the answer, this is the solution, and I've got the momentum. I just wanted to go for it. But Community Cultivator really, I'm glad that we kind of started talking about who I was and who we are as spouses over the, 26, 28 years, because really Community Cultivator is from my origin story. And it's not just my origin story, it's really kind of all of our origin stories. And so for me, I mentioned those 9 different PCSs and living overseas, which was super scary, going to Japan, never being, living overseas, away from family and friends. The way that I found my place in every location was through volunteer service. But to your point, you got to not just give away your time for free.
Yeah.
You vote with your time, right? And so you have to be strategic with the opportunities that you take on. I wasn't always that way. At first, it was just trying to connect and find that, emergency contact for my kids' school, or just having a friend to go to coffee with or whatever it is. But then it eventually turned into what really am I passionate about? What skills do I want to gain? Who do I want to bring into my network? And I started getting strategic with what I was doing. So that is kind of what Community Cultivator is based on, is building this community for each other. We're being the community together. You have something to give. I have something to give. We're bringing our network, our resources, our everything together. And then together we are integrating civilian and military communities through volunteer service. So I've had been building a lot of relationships outside the installations and getting to know San Diego in a much deeper way by, all through volunteer service and connecting with these nonprofit organizations, people who don't really know us. And so now they know us because we're volunteering and it's all through service together with a shared mission. And then that's then building our resumes. And now that's helping with career opportunities. So that's kind of I've got those 3 pillars. It's connect, contribute, and grow. And that's kind of how I've lived the past 26 years.
So with Community Cultivator, how does it work? Like, do spouses, is it a meetup group? And if so, how often do people meet up?
Yeah, so we're really just getting started. I mean, just launched this year in 2026. We had our launch party last week or 2 weeks ago. It was incredible. There was about 35 of us there in a small, intimate group. The feedback we've gotten was exactly what we're looking for, is that we just are looking to connect with each other, believe in each other, and, we all have those resources. So there was one spouse that literally got married 2 months ago, and her husband deployed right away. She was never connected with anybody within the unit, had not met any other military spouses, had no idea what to do. She had just left her job in order to move with him and was just kind of like, what do I do? So she was, amazed by the support that she found just from that one evening. And then there's, on the other side, I think there was 3 different surviving spouses there. And there was, I think, 2 different divorced spouses. So my whole motto is once a spouse, always a spouse. So if you were a spouse and affected by this lifestyle and you really relate to it, then you're welcome in this community.
I love that, especially since you've included divorced spouses, because unfortunately, I'm sure we both know a couple of divorced spouses. And the feedback that I've had from divorced spouses is that, okay, I had all these resources when he was active duty and we were together. And now that we're no longer together, I have access to 0 resources. And they find it really hard because one of the spouses had been married 20 years. And she's like, for 20 years, this was all I knew.
Right.
And now I don't have civilian friends, So I'm glad you've included them because, again, I feel the same way. Once a military spouse, you're always a military spouse, especially if you've invested 20 years. Absolutely you should be able to go to an event and meet other spouses and,
Well, and the neat thing with it is that your story resonates with somebody.
Yeah.
So, and that's what, you're talking about. You asked me about what are our get-togethers. So we're just getting started. We had that one. We're going to be doing more regular in-person and virtual opportunities. Next month on August 11th, we're doing a community and career mixer at USD, the Knopf School of Business. We've partnered with them. So they'll be hosting military spouses. They are invited to bring an invited guest, whether it be their service member, veteran, or even a high school or college student who might be looking at education or career opportunities. So the spouse is invited first. So that's everything I'm doing is the spouse comes first, and then we're able to bring in the military community along with us spouses. But so we're going to be hoping to do those quarterly, where we're going to be integrating the community with the spouses. But we're then starting some virtual programming. So it's a local community-based community that is going to be a blueprint that we can replicate in other locations, but there's also a virtual community because we all know that we PCS. So already, I've met a ton of military spouses who are like, oh, I can't be a part of it because I'm moving. I'm like, no, you can be a part of it. We're going to take you on your journey. And so the other really exciting thing that's going to be available, we're launching and rolling it out next week. I'm calling it Career Cultivator, and it's fueled by Journeys Map. And so it's going to be an IT tool that spouses are going to be able to build their own journey wherever they are and throughout their career. So they can come up with opportunities that they're wanting to go for, and then it's going to build their journey to get there, whether it be education, certification, adding on some strategic volunteering. You need to get some actually time in service doing those skills. We're going to get you connected with different volunteer opportunities. So there's job boards for volunteer and paid employment, and it's this tool that's going to be interactive. We get to build it exactly how we want it. So the resources that are unique to our community are all going to be in there, that people are going to be able to help guide their journey wherever they might be.
I like the fact that you've included the partner and maybe a young adult, for the meeting at USD, the career one. Because I know a lot of young military kids right now that are looking for work other than volunteer, you know what I mean? So this is good that when you look at it, it's obviously you're not just looking at today, you're looking 5 years down the road, and 10 years down the road. So I think because the first thought I had was, I think I'll come with my kid.
Please do.
Yeah, because...
Well, and so the whole premise is that I think military spouses are the answer. So, California is losing military families by, the thousands, So I think there's like 20,000 military service members that retire or separate every year. And we are losing them out of the state of California. I mean, no brainer, it's really expensive to live here. Well, we can afford to live here if we're dual income, but that's not enough. You also need to feel connected to your community and a sense of belonging, and that you don't want to leave. And so if we start with the military spouses and we get them connected to their community and like, this is home, they're also making a really good salary, and they are then contributing to their financial health of their family. And then if you add on those kids layer, you get them connected, and now they're going to school. They don't want to leave. Now they're earning an income and contributing that to California. It's a no-brainer that California should invest in our military families in order to keep us here, because that's a lot of dollars that would be staying in California.
And I think it's to your point as well, it's long overdue that military spouses are looked at in a professional way. Because for my 28 years, I remember one of the jobs that I went for when I first moved to the States, there was some part-time little shitty job somewhere. And they were like, oh, you're military. How long are you going to be here? I'm like, I don't know, lady. I mean, because I didn't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know, lady, but what does that matter? If I have to leave, I will give you ample notice. I couldn't understand the concept of the question. Because I thought the civilian world had a better understanding. But I feel that they've taken that understanding of moving every 18 months or 2 years, and they've taken it in a negative way. Because if they could understand that, like Kim, my associate producer, is on a 13th PCS. And everywhere she has gone, she has, got some knowledge, expertise, another experience, something else to add to her resume. And she's made connections there. And I sometimes think companies forget that we're connected throughout the US.
Oh my God, we got a global.
Yeah.
Well, global.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't think companies realize our value. And so this is great that, again, you're out in San Diego talking to these companies and getting the military spouse forward. Because you're right. I mean, everybody knows if, my husband says it sometimes, happy wife, happy life. I'm like, I don't know if that's always true. But, if spouses are looked after, they're connected, they feel valid, they have purpose.
Absolutely.
And it's not just a shitty job, it goes a long, long way.
Well, I think, not to put us all into one big lump, but I think we're typically very loyal, dedicated, hardworking, resourceful, innovative. We've had to be scrappy and make things, work with very little, or, whatever it might be. And so we are some of the best employees.
Yes.
So employers need to look at us that way. And if, I try and encourage employers to be a little bit more flexible with us, because oftentimes we are the primary caregiver. So we may need to leave at 3:00 to go get kids off to school, or, we might need to work from home and not be in, a hybrid schedule. So I've seen employers, once they started just providing a little bit of flexibility, they're getting incredible product from the military spouse and a really great, employee. So it really is, as long as employers can be innovative and really see us for our value, it's a great investment on their part.
How have you been received in the corporate world as you've gone out to tell employers about military spouses?
Yeah, so I have champions in a lot of different organizations, and I think that's what military spouses need to find, even service members too. As we are looking for civilian work, we need to find those champions, and a lot of companies do have military hiring initiatives, or specifically military spouse hiring initiatives. Some of my favorite companies, like RSM, I have my guy Michael is awesome, and he really sees the value in military spouses, and he's hired several military spouses through the fellowship program, or if they are like flat out the best hire, he's gonna hire them right directly, get them paid what they're worth. He's been excellent at helping to get the hiring managers to see the value of getting them hired in one place and letting them move with that career, and so they're able to keep those jobs as a remote opportunity. So he's been very forward-thinking with RSM. Also thinking about Humana. I've got my woman, Jay, that I worked with for many years. We together hired over, I think, 28 spouses, one after other in different business lanes, and just really trying to get military spouse stories told to the right hiring managers, and seeing their value, giving them a chance, and they've continued to then promote and be some of the best employees that they've had. I think Michael's even said that they have the best retention. When he's looked at his data, better retention in military spouses than any of his other hires. So it really is just give us a chance.
Yeah, there definitely is a little gap that needs to be bridged there. I gave a talk to a corporate company a couple of months ago, just about military spouses, how we operate. And I was amazed that these guys and gals really had no information on us. Like, they were surprised that I had my first kid without my husband. They were like, well, how? I'm like, well, in a hospital in Balboa.
Right.
But why couldn't he be there? Because he's in the military.
Right.
They own him. And so this wasn't a situation. Spouses realize and understand that a lot of the things that we have to do them. And I tried to explain to this company that the service member is trained not to be at home. They're trained to be mission ready. And so while they're getting trained to be mission ready, we're getting conditioned to live life, or 6, 8, 9 months of the year, without them. And so we put in our own processes, we make up our own schedule. And that in itself, I remember saying to them, that in itself has such value you're basically a single parent for maybe half the year, 8 months of the year, and then you've got to have your service member come back from the deployment, and you have to help them integrate back in to make sure that it's all. There's a lot of management going on there that I think is overlooked. So yes, I completely agree with you. Every time I give a talk about military spouses to the corporate world, they're like, what? They're shocked. And I'm like, why are you guys shocked?
Well, and you made me think of a project I'm working on right now. I'm hoping, looking for sponsorship for this workshop that we're going to be doing. I've hired a military spouse whose background and specialty is in theater, speaking, presentation, and she's got her book is, I think, Origin Stories, and it's all about storytelling and how to tell our stories. So there's a 7-part workshop that we're going to be doing where military spouses are going to be coming together in a cohort, getting comfortable with each other, and doing a little bit of this, talking to each other, telling each other's story in a comfortable setting, and then learning how to refine that to really, whether it be for your elevator pitch, your interview skills, how you come into a room, how you present yourself confidently and own your story. And then it's going to culminate with everybody's going to be able to tell their 5 to 7 minute story in front of community leaders. So we're going to be inviting people to hear directly from us, all different types of spouses, whether it be you, me, that 2-month-old spouse, or the divorced spouse, the Gold Star spouse, So they're going to get to hear little snapshots of all of us, who we are, what we bring to the table, and to really get to know us and value us.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Now, you've just started. You've just started it. You had your launch party, you said, a week ago. How long before that have you been working on this?
Well, so I like to say, it's been about 6 months that I've been in existence, the LLC. But really, it's 26 years in the making. Yeah. So like I mentioned, it's from my origin story. Prior to this, I was with Hiring Our Heroes, and I helped with military spouse employment. Was on a specific team that helped place over 1,300 military spouses in employment opportunities. So I'm not new to this. Yeah. I've been developing relationships, finding those champions in all the different companies and in the different communities, and getting to know spouses. Also, we talked about a global network. I've been a part of different organizations for military spouses all over the world. So really connected and remain connected even as a veteran retired spouse. I find that they're my tribe. Military spouses are my tribe, and I know we share that. So it has been just kind of, I'm now putting it a little bit more formal into an entity that we can come together and really providing a platform for other military spouses to channel their energy. I've been getting us into rooms, and I'm bringing spouses with me. Like, now here, it's your time to shine. Let's get you in front of these people and see what happens.
I love that as well, because, you're obviously not a gatekeeper, so just supporting spouses in that way of, hey, let's get you in that room, let's get you in front of people, let's get you, started kind of thing. That really is true advocacy. Now, if you've launched it, it took you 6 months, you had 26 years of experience. Where do you think, have you thought about where Community Cultivator is going to be in, say, 3 years? And what would you like to for it to happen over?
Yeah, it's, and you're probably the same way. I just, I want everything to happen quicker than it really should. And I am kind of at the point where I need to slow down and be intentional with each little step. But I think in the short term, I really want to make that impact here in San Diego. Yeah. And we're on the brink of that with some pretty key partnerships that are lining up, really to get spouses the right exposure, but then also our community getting to know us better. And then helping them get connected and kind of proving the concept. And so I would say then in 3 to 5 years, as I'm building that virtual community, I have other communities that are already approaching me and wanting to do something similar. And so I say, wherever the seed is going to get planted, let's bloom there. So if we have boots on the ground in other locations, I have my eyes on a few neighborhoods to go for first. But I see the same type of thing. If there's somebody that's as passionate as I am in their community, and we can build that blueprint where they are, and then just continue to let it flourish. Because it's really connecting everybody in person is, I think, key, especially coming off COVID, everybody's on their phones. We're so used to that virtual, programming. And there's really awesome resources that are virtually set up, and I don't want those to go away. We need those, absolutely. But every time I'm in, I mean, even this, like, I know everybody's going to be seeing us on video, but just being in person, talking to you, is way better than if we were doing this on Zoom. So that power of human connection in person is what I'm trying to build wherever people are.
You know, you and I think alike, because my little get-togethers that I have with spouses, again, you know, like I told you, we just go out and connect. I don't push any resources or anything, you know. I have an open mic night, which is great, because spouses will go up there and go, hey, I need this, or where can I go to get this, you know. Somebody actually went up there and sang a song, and she did really good. You know, but the mic is there for you for whatever you want to do, because the one thing I'd noticed years ago is you get, especially in San Diego, you have some entities that come through, put on a great event, and then you never see them again for at least 2 years. And in one of the conversations that I had with my spouses, it was a case of, I don't care how great AI is or how far technology goes. The one thing that we are conditioned for as human beings is that one-on-one, is that touch, is that feel. Do you know what I mean? So the one-on-one thing will never go away. I started with a group of maybe 5 spouses. Now when I do my little fireside chats, I've got, you know, maybe 30 spouses, 35 spouses. It's a big rabble and everybody's different. But everybody is so accepting, because I make it very clear from the beginning, hey ladies, there ain't no bullshit going on here, you know. Nobody cares about rank or branch here. Just connect, you know, and there is a need for that. There is a need for that, I think, everywhere. And to your point, after the COVID, I think COVID killed a lot of community. Killed all community, really.
Well, and I think we are seeing that pendulum swing back, and just that craving for it now.
Yes, it's a need. I think there's nothing worse, I think, for a military spouse than to be lonely, feel isolated, and have time on our hands. Because then your mind just goes to places you don't really want your mind to go to, you know. Isolation is just, I think it's just a terrible thing, period, you know. So again, similar to what you provide is more organized and structured. Mine, like I said, is like, hey, let's go and have a drink.
Well, we need it all. And, you know, to your point with the organizations that come in and do these awesome fun events and then they leave, we need those. And it's so much fun, because that, like, kind of is that burst of energy. But then you and I are the ones that are here. And that are going to continue to provide the support and be in the community regularly, and then getting our spouses and families together to continue, you know, the momentum and the support. You know, and that's one thing and why I love that we're collaborating, is that we do something a little bit different, but similar missions. And there's other organizations like that. You know, I'm working hand in hand with Blue Star Families, and they're doing really incredible work. And they support the entire family. They do a lot of fun things. They do coffee connects. I think it's once a month in a couple of different locations, bringing spouses together. That hits maybe a different population than maybe what I'm hitting. Who knows? But we're supporting each other and working together. And so I think what I love about us and the organizations here that we're partnering with and collaborating with is that we're not looking to replicate. We're just really looking to amplify and collaborate. And so we're all good at something different, and we have a space together. You bring the fun. I don't know. I probably will get in the open mic if you give me a glass of wine or a margarita. Who knows what I might do, but I would love to be a part of that and bring community cultivators with you, you know?
Because I think everybody, and the beautiful thing about what everybody does do in San Diego as well, is that, like you said, there is a need for all of it. There's definitely space, you know. I mean, I had a spouse ask me the other day, hey, I want to start off a podcast, you know, but will it you know, like, how do you feel about it? I'm like, girlfriend, there is so much room for podcasts, for storytelling, because there's no other way we're going to be able to get our message out, really. And storytelling is such a big human part of it as well. And I think it's good for the individual to release as well, just tell their story. Because again, I think in the military spouse space, the one thing I've noticed for myself that has been different than the civilian world, corporate world, is that with military spouses, there ain't no judgment. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, I've walked in your shoes. I've had my kid. My husband's not been here. I've been rushing around like a crazy woman trying to do everything, and the deployment's been delayed. So you have all of these commonalities, you know, and that's why I find it very hard to judge a military spouse, because like, I got you. Yeah, I've been there. You know, like I have a friend of mine. She's going to kill me for saying this, but I have a friend of mine that almost every weekend for the longest time, she had one of these divorce weekends. That's what I call them. You know, they have an argument. It's a divorce weekend. She complains, I'm leaving him. And it's like, okay, I know you're not leaving him. You know, I mean, I know you're not leaving him. But it's just one of those situations that I think that only military spouses can understand, because they go, they come back, they annoy you, they go, they come back. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of...
Well, that's why we need each other, and I think why we find that it's our tribe, because only we can understand.
Yes.
I mean, you were saying those things. I remember one of the deployments, the night before, whatever my husband was doing, you know, was making me mad. Kids were little. I remember back in the day, I gotten a BlackBerry, so I could actually get email. Like, but I remember throwing it across the room, and we were so mad. And you know, I took him to the ship that night or the next day, and we were just mad.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, that's not the right way to go. And obviously, we made up after that, and never again will we leave that way again. But only a military spouse can understand that. You know, like I took I threw it. I was, you know, so.
I remember being mad one time because he went away on an exercise. And every time my guy went away, I always planned to do something. Like when he went on a deployment, I converted the whole garage into a man cave, you know, or I painted a room, or I did something.
Oh, yeah.
And he was coming back early. And I turned around to my girlfriend and I went, can you believe that? He's coming back early. I got shit to do.
Right.
And only a military spouse would be able to understand why you're frustrated that he's coming back early.
Yeah.
Because again, there's that mental thing as well. Like, okay, he's not coming back for this period of time. I've got all of this time. And your time is precious. Even your alone time. I found, you know, my alone time is important. And now you're coming back early. That means I don't get all my alone time. You know, it's crazy. But again, yes, it's only a military spouse that would understand that. Do you think that by being a military spouse and experiencing the things that you have helped you be a better entrepreneur? Do you think it's given you a little bit of, a bit of an edge?
I think so. I mean, whether it's my personality or not, I think I'm fueled by so much information. I've had, you know, the opportunity to know so many military spouses over the past 26 years, and then more in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, like really working closely with them and seeing how professional they are. So I think that fuels me and makes me want to do these hard things. But, you know, to your point, I think the roles I've taken on, the things that I've had to figure out as a spouse, and, you know, overseas moves. If you've moved overseas, my gosh, have you lived overseas? I mean, it's like 3 different pack outs. What do you need to, you know, like we converted one room just for like our express shipment. Does a coffee maker go? Does it stay? You know, like, what do you want? You know, all those things that you have to like prioritize and project manage, you know, really is a lifetime of experience that I think has helped fueled me. It's helped me be resourceful, innovative, but also know that I know my strengths now. I know where I need to bring people in. Even yesterday I was meeting with my team of volunteers, and they wanted me to approve certain things. I was like, look, this is our community. So if it's your name on it, put it out there. Like it's not supposed to come from me. Like it's you, me, it's all of us. So that's kind of what I'm just trying to bring us together. And I think I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, but you came up with a point about now, with after 26 years of of being a military spouse, now you're ready to do this, and I'm losing track as well because I'm trying to think about what you were saying, but I remember thinking, yeah, that's a really good point. Like,
ready to do hard things.
Yeah, you're ready to do hard things. Do you think that, say, I don't know, 20 years ago, you would have...
I wouldn't have done this a few years ago. So, I mean, I'm grateful for the journey I've had. The challenges I've had have led me to fuel this passion. But I'm very thankful for my time working at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, hiring our heroes, what I learned there, the network. And then additionally to that, there's other resources I've taken advantage of. The Military Spouse Advocacy Network. They have a Leadership Institute for Military Spouses. I went through their leadership program.
Oh, nice.
Really appreciated some of the tools that I picked up from there. And actually in a week or two, I get to come back as a day with leaders. And I'm one of the leaders that I get to speak with all the spouses who are going through this cohort. Another thing that I've taken advantage of being a military spouse that are resources that are available to us is I got a certification in human resources all through Onward to Opportunity through the Institute for Veterans and Military Families, which is with Syracuse University. So I would not have had those opportunities if I weren't a military spouse and knew about it and took advantage of that to get me to where I am now. And so I think each year I started building and getting to this point where I knew I needed to get out and just see what was possible.
Yeah.
And go do those hard things. And thankfully I have a husband and kids that are supportive, and they're really part of the mission too.
I was going to say, how does your husband feel about, he's retired now?
He is retired from the military and onto a civilian career, yes.
Okay. And when you told him, okay, I'm going to set this up and this is what I'm going to do, how was he about that?
He was exceptional about it. I think that many of us are our own worst critics, right? So I didn't know if I could do it. I was not looking to, I don't know. I was nervous to do hard things, and I needed the encouragement. And my husband, I think, has always seen my potential and pushed me to it, and has been, I mean, he's there every day for me, being my sounding board. He actually has 10%. When I launched the LLC, I'm 90%, he's 10%. And he's like, why'd you put me down? I'm like, because I need at least 10% of you daily, to be putting into the Community Cultivator. And he embodies it too. He has been really embedded in our community here. He's a wrestling coach at a high school, and just loving in on our community here and the next generation, hopefully inspiring them to be Marines or serving in the military, after high school. But
he understands fully what you are doing and what your goal is. Yeah. You see, because I speak to spouses sometimes that are self-employed. Like my husband, I'm not too sure. I mean, my husband knows I do podcasts, but my husband has no idea of what else I'm doing. He's a transaction kind of guy. And I'm that, hey, I think I'm going to do this and I'm going to set this up and then, and I'm going to do it like that. And he's like, okay, well, I can't understand that concept, Surinder, unless it started, you're in it, and I can see how it operates, So sometimes that has actually caused, not problems, but it's caused conversations amongst us, as to why are you still working 8 o'clock at night? And why have you got to do that 6 days a week? And I'm trying to explain to him what I'm building here, but his mind doesn't always work like that. I mean, he supports everything I do. He's like, yeah, he can't stop me. But he doesn't always fully get, okay, so what is this West Coast event you've got, or what is this you're doing? So that's kind of like strange to me. It's kind of... You
brought him into some of your stuff though, right? You brought him to the music awards?
I did. And I actually, I can count on one hand though, because he's that kind of guy like, okay, he's just not that kind of guy. And I respect that, And every time we go someplace where there's a lot of people, I know that he's kind of like, okay, where's the exit? Where's this? Where's that? He's always looking, But yes, I've taken him to a couple of events. I took him to the Valor event at Hamul Casino. And I'm glad I took him to that now, because I got Valor Spouse 2025. So I actually got an award there. And I did thank him in my little thank you. I was like, thank you, baby, for coming to the event with me today. But he's not at everything, but he's there when I need him. But he also gives me my space, because he knows that I'm just kind of like that way inclined, which brings me to the point of balance. How do you balance what you're doing now, especially since it's like in its infancy, it's new, and that's where you have to put in a lot of work. How do you balance that with family and husband?
Yeah, it is a lot. I think my brain 24/7, excuse me, is thinking about things, ideas, collaborations. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. But I do want to have balance. So, exercise is very important to me. So I usually get some type of exercise, if not every day of the week, 6 days a week, eating healthy, those types of things. But then being a part of family. We are Padres fans, so we actually have tickets to go to the Padres tonight. So we a lot of times do that as a family. We are taking time for vacation later this summer. My son just graduated. So really trying to keep sure that we have, that balance of that family time together, trying to have dinner together. So still, I want to have fun. I want to work hard, and I do work hard, but not at the expense of my family and friends.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the Padres. We went to that Padres game together.
Yes.
And I don't know anything about baseball. But what would be your walk-on song if you had to walk into a room like a baseball player?
I was like, I think about it with like interviewing, because we work with spouses. Like, you have to have that hype. What's your hype song? Yeah. And one of them is That Girl's on Fire, Beyonce. So it's like, I think I would come out there, This Girl's on Fire.
I like that. I thought it was going to be a sports song, like but no, I like that.
No, maybe that's where my brain is, like something like to just inspire, empower. I've related to different music with our journeys. Like Miley Cyrus has The Climb, and it's kind of like, if you really listen to the lyrics, I think most of us spouses can relate that it's like an uphill battle, yes. All these things, like how to, what do you do when you get to the top, and you're always working towards something. So there's just I do like music that way, but yeah, This Girl's on Fire, I'd like to think.
You mentioned power, so that leads me to leadership. Although I don't think, sometimes the two aren't connected, but leadership. I always find that that's such a broad subject, and there's a million books written on it, right? And some of them are all the same. I've got to say, I stopped writing books on leadership because they're all the same, But what is authentic leadership to you?
Leading by example. I think that, I've been in situations where I haven't necessarily had a title or given a leadership position that I could really make the big decisions. So it's kind of figuring out ways to lead with authority, or right? And authenticity and influence, really. Yeah. That's what influence without authority is what actually that Military Spouse Advocacy Network was one of the tools I learned from there. Because, how do I get my boss to make the decision that I need her to do, or whatever it might be? And it's really just showing up. And that's how even I've used that same example in the community here. Like, how do we actually make change? And it's not just coming in and saying, we need to make change, hire a military spouse, whatever it is. It's showing up, and it's continuing to show up every day, every opportunity, and bringing other spouses with you. And so then it's through, you're leading that way and influencing and making change that way. So I think I try and lead with authenticity, and you get who I am, and I really do support everybody. I don't know. I try and make sure that people know who I am, and it's coming from a genuine place.
Have you, over your 26 years, met a spouse that maybe was a great leader or mentor to you?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, there have been several. I mean, even just recently, who helped me kind of make this big leap was one of my friends, Julie. And the way I met her was through serving on a board. I was the chief operating officer for the Council for Military Spouse Clubs, and she was one of the founding spouses of the nonprofit organization. And I learned a ton with her, next to her. Some of the things that I learned with her, I brought into my role and how I managed spouses and the program at Hiring Our Heroes. But she then took it upon herself to be my career coach and mentor and leader. And I met with her one-on-one for 6 weeks straight.
Oh, nice.
And she helped me really make my decision as to, or know what really was my intentional and authentic decision to what I needed to do. But she helped me see that. So, but I have mentors in all different places. I mean, even thinking back to like way back in my early years as a spouse, and you just need that one maybe senior or seasoned spouse who believes in you and asks you to come on board and whatever it might be. And then that changes the trajectory for at least that time of wherever you are.
I think that again, that I remember when I moved here and didn't know anybody, it was a senior spouse that came to me, and she kind of like took me under her wing, and she was like, okay, this is how we do what we do, and this is where the commissary is, and this is where that is, and all the rest of it. And I stayed in touch with that woman for many, many years because she really taught me kind of like, hey, it's okay. It's all good. Not that I was like falling apart, but I was kind of like, okay, well, I moved here on a Monday, and on a Wednesday he's gone away. And I remember my husband said, oh, here's the names of 3 women that you can call. And I thought, dude, no, I don't operate like that. That was so alien to me that I would have to call somebody, to like make friends, and but everybody that I met, again, just everybody's in the same boat. And don't you think, talking is showing up, I think the older I get, and I said this in a podcast that I did recently called The Bitch Gene, that I've come across those individuals that will write things on your LinkedIn or IG, hey, I love that for you, like. But the older I get, the more I'm looking at the action, and the action is, did that person share my post? Did that person buy a ticket to my event? Did that person tell another military spouse? Did that person show up in some way, shape, or form? And sometimes people don't, obviously, show up. But the older I get, that is what I look at, going back to your point of everybody showing up and doing it. That makes such a huge difference, I just wanted to...
Well, and, even that made me think of, as a younger spouse and not knowing anybody, and then you needed to meet that one person. But I remember just getting the balls to go to an event that I was scared to go to. I didn't know anybody, and I'm like, if I just meet that one person, I need to make one friend.
Yeah.
And every time I've met at least one friend.
Yeah.
And then I walk away, and now I've got friends for that entire time I'm there. And so that's the advice I give to military spouses now. Just show up, because it may be that somebody needed you that day, or you're going to walk away, with some type of connection that you're going to be thinking about after you leave. And so if you don't show up, the event isn't going to be successful. And so I think I just really try and inspire everybody that they have value in everything that they do. And if we just show up for each other, you're going to get out of it what you need, and probably even more so, because you're going to be giving to somebody else.
Well, I think that sometimes spouses, and I've had these conversations with spouses where whatever the reluctance is, there's some kind of, maybe they just don't feel comfortable. Again, it's a new place they've moved to. And moving to point B, No, I was in a situation where I set up a business and I had a structure. I did not think about, hey, we might be moving from Coronado. And so when the move came, I was like, well, okay, I'll see you when you get back, because I now have a contract. I never even, that never even crossed my mind. So I've always stayed here, you know. But I've said to spouses that before you move to point B, I mean, there's Facebook pages you can get on and connect with, you know, with spouses as to what's there and all the rest of it. Because sometimes I feel there are some spouses that have waited until there is a crisis to find their people. And I'm like, don't wait till the crisis, you know. But again, if you don't go out to the event or to the social or whatever it is, you're not going to build a relationship. You know, I mean, I know relationships take time, but you're definitely not going to build a friendship or a relationship if you don't even go, you know. So again, showing up in person, especially in San Diego, where there's so many things going on, and I really can't think of a reason why you wouldn't show up. And you're right. I mean, some of my best friends I've made is because I walked into a room, I didn't know anybody, and I just thought, okay, I'll just, you know, hey, what's up, you know, and then that's all it really took. You know, so again.
Well, that's how, I mean, we met.
Yeah.
I mean, you're Navy down south. I was Marine Corps up north, and like we were not crossing paths until, I mean, I think it was a couple of different times. It wasn't showing up once. It was repeatedly seeing each other, and then people are like, "Do you know Surinder? And do you know Tracy?" You're like, all right. And we exchanged phone numbers, and then from then on, and it was because we were showing up.
Yeah, it's so important to show up. You know, I had a couple of questions for you here. Okay, failure. Have you had a failure that you've been grateful for?
Yes. So, yes, lots of, probably lots. But what comes to mind most recently in this next chapter that I'm living, so there's the Bush Institute has the Stand to Veteran Leadership Program, and they do it in cohorts once a year, and it's supporting military spouses, veterans, or people who are supporting the military community. They have to have a project that they apply with, and then they get support through, I think it's like 5 months to be working on, and they really are invited into an alumni network, and everybody I've seen go through it has really done really incredible things. So I have wanted to be a part of that. I've applied twice and I didn't get in. One of the years I had interviews and I didn't make it to that next round. That first year I was absolutely devastated because I thought, I just needed to get in. That was going to be my answer to whatever was going to be next. And it took me a good, I'd say, month, really down about it, you know, and just wondering, gosh, can I not hack it? Do I not have what it takes? Why, you know, I thought I had something good in my project, but apparently not. Well, then in talking to other people, there's so many incredible leaders and mentors and people who I admire who've had that same path and they didn't get in. So they put together a cohort that's going to work together. So it's not that you have the best project or, you know, whatever it might be. They're putting together a cohort that's going to work together. So it was kind of doing that soul searching and figuring out it's okay. I didn't need to have that blessing that I was good enough to be there. I just kept building those relationships and having those meetings and building on my ideas. My ideas have now evolved way bigger than what they were first. And so if I had stopped there, who knows what I would have done. So I just kept getting challenged and meet more people, do more things, do these things. And then it's kind of evolved into what I'm doing now. And had I been accepted 2 years ago, I don't think I would have been doing it.
That's
so
crazy.
I'm grateful for, you know, the disappointment and having to get over that and not getting something that I really wanted at the time, but being so happy that was part of my journey.
I like that. Now, military spouses listening, wanting to start a business, what would be your advice to them?
Oh, just start talking to people. There's so many resources available to us. It's overwhelming, but talk to some people who've done it before. Either one of us. I mean, you've helped me with getting connected with Victor and Valor for website management. That helped open up doors for me. There's the Rosie Network. There's U.S. Chamber or the Military Spouse Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
There's lots of different opportunities. I'm now a member with Hera Hub, which is a women's co-working location, not military related, but they're very supportive of us military spouses. They have gurus that you can meet with. So lots of different resources. So I would say just start having those meetings and telling people your ideas and help getting, those put down on paper. Use AI. AI has been my friend in evolving business plans and figuring out how could this help me conceptualize what I was thinking about. But I think it's such a great pathway for us spouses, especially if you're active duty, and still moving. If you can build a business and bring it with wherever you are, it's gold.
Yeah. See, if I'd have built a business that hadn't been coffee carts, I don't know what else I really would have done. Like, what could I have taken with me? What would I have built that I could take with me? And again, the idea of me having to move after 18 months or 2 years never occurred to me. Never, ever occurred to me. And then when he said to me, oh, well, this is the situation, I was like, okay, well, I'll see you when you get back then, because I'm in the middle of a contract. I can't do this. But to your point, and even those spouses, like I just had a great conversation with a military spouse, Fatton Saad, who runs Frosted and Filled. If you ever want a cake, you gotta get in touch with Fatton, because she just does spectacular cakes. And she was in Camp Lejeune, started a business in Camp Lejeune. Was busy as a bee, and then all of a sudden her husband got orders to San Diego, and it didn't put her off that we're moving to San Diego. She didn't start all over again, but she just, again, Facebook, social media. Hey, I'm a baker. I'm going to be coming out there, and her business almost didn't skip a beat. She got here and she already had orders. So I mean, again, depending on what you build, you can take it with you. I think the beauty of it is that you can pivot in as many directions as you want to when you're self-employed, and there is nobody there to tell you that's wrong. Because you just keep going until you find what is right, or that works for you, And I tell spouses that all the time, and I understand being nervous about opening a business, that I think is just natural. But if you're starting a business, if you're thinking of starting a business, DM us. We'll help you get over that sometimes there's that mental block of, I don't know if I can do it. It scares me. What if I get it wrong? Well, if you get it wrong, just pivot. That's the beauty of it. How do people get in touch with you and Community Cultivator? So
Community Cultivator, you can go to our website, communitycultivator.co. I am also on LinkedIn. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn. I am not as active on Facebook or Instagram. That's not my jam, but I am LinkedIn worthy, so find me there. And I'm out in the community. Yeah. And so that's what we're trying to do with Community Cultivator, is just showing up. I'm on the board for Veterans Beer Club because they include military spouses, but military spouses don't necessarily know that. Yes. So I'm like, if we just show up and start bringing more spouses, we're there. Same thing, I've been doing a lot with San Diego Military Advisory Council and the foundation there, and trying to help provide an opportunity for military spouses to be seen in that room, in that network, which is working. It's getting people hired. So it's being out in the community. You might see me at Blue Star Families. You might see me at Open Mic Night with Surrender. Just trying to get out and about. Armed Services YMCA, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. They're having a military spouse symposium. I believe it's September 12th at Miramar. Yeah. So all the installations. Going up to that. Yeah. Yeah. So lots of different places.
Say the website again, Community Cultivator.
Communitycultivator.co.
Yes, it is CO. Yesterday when you sent me an email, I thought, did she miss the M?
No,
but
I didn't.
It is CO. Tracy, it has been really good to chat with you today.
Very good chatting with you, Surinder, as always.
I'm looking forward to, talking again in a year or in 6 months, seeing what's happened. And definitely keep us posted of the events and where they are and all the rest of it so we can help get the word out as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to just bring up again on August 11th, I invite all military spouses to come to Community and Career Mixer. You're welcome to bring your +1, so that service member, veteran, or one of your high school or college kids that are looking for education or career opportunities. Also want to throw out another event that is happening August 26th. So Zero Mills is a company that is coming in and bringing all of our community together and all these major stakeholders from all over the country, several from DC, to have really, really important conversations about our military community. I'm, of course, making sure that spouses are going to be part of these conversations and that the room is going to hear from us. And then it turns into, they're calling it a change forum. So we are doing workshopping. So we're going to be working on hopefully developing more of a transition program that's going to be local to our San Diego and California region to help military families be able to plant roots here and stay.
I love that. I actually wrote it down, August 26th. I'm going to get the
August
details.
August 26th, sponsored by National University.
Okay. National University.
And all these events, I'm trying to make sure are being put on my website. So any community events that are open to military spouses will be on my website.
Oh,
so if you have an event that you want to have advertised on my website, please let me know. I'm just trying to make that a hub so that spouses can go like, oh, I didn't know that this was going on. I can go. So
I'm going to give you the information for West Coast CPO Spouse. West Coast CPO Spouse will be August 15th, held at Liberty Station. If your partner is a chief selectee, because we're going into chief season, it's an event you don't want to miss, because we will go over everything that you need to know as they have made rank. And you can find that on cpospouseconnect.com. Tracy is on communitycultivator.co. It's been great. It's been a great conversation. That's some good information for everybody out there. So we're going to sign off now. My name's Surinder. This is the beautiful Tracy Steele from Community Cultivator. This is The Goode Show, and we're out. Thanks for tuning in to The Goode Show. If you loved what you heard, follow me on Instagram @The Goode Show.